Disabled people of Reddit, what are some things that people do to try and help you but actually irritates the hell out of you? I only ask because I always see this visually impaired person walking on campus with a walking stick and I want to know if it's rude to go ask if he would like some assistance. My mother uses a wheelchair, and for some reason that makes people in shops and restaurants think she can't hear/understand them, so they talk to me instead of her like I'm some sort of interpreter, or speak to her in slow, baby talk tones, either of which irritates us both. Joke's on them, I'm the one with impaired hearing. You should behave like your mother and the other person talks different languages but you repeat exactly what the person said. Person, mother has a nice necklace. You, person says that you have a nice necklace. Mother, thanks. You, mother says thanks. Or, take advantage of the hearing loss thing, and every time anyone talks through her, ask her mother what she said. Person, your mother has a nice necklace. Jules_Noctambule, Mom, what did they say? Mother, they said I had a nice necklace. Jules_Noctambule, oh, that's sweet of them. Could you tell them that's sweet of them? Regardless of what way you do it, you could add a bit of spice to the interpretation. Person, your mother has a nice necklace. Jules, person says that you have a bad breath taste. Mother, oh_oh. I'm in a wheelchair. I get approached quite often by people wanting to help when I don't need it. I understand people are trying to be nice, but generally, if I'm not outright asking for help, it's because I don't need it. Most disabled people don't just wander out of their house on a whim unless they have a plan to deal with any obstacles they might face. Also, never touch someone's wheelchair/cane/walker/service dog/their body/whatever without their explicit permission. I can't tell you how many times strangers have come up behind me and just started pushing my chair because I looked like I needed a push. No. Just no. Also, I've had strangers come up to me and insist that they help me when they spot me getting in or out of my car. I drive my car several times a day, and I have a very efficient system to getting in and out. When someone tries to help, they're just interfering and making it take even longer. Edit. Wow, so many responses. Let me clarify something. It's not rude to ask someone if they need help when they're obviously struggling. You should do that for anyone, regardless of whether they're disabled or not. But you shouldn't just assume they need help, or insist to help even when they say no. That's just basic human decency. My dad was blind, and he got really angry when we tried to move things out of the way for him. He said he memorized where everything was in the house, and when we moved shit around for him, he became confused and didn't understand where he was and would just start swearing at us. Miss him so much. My mom had a friend who was a city attorney and was blind, and some of his, very close, friends would sometimes mess with him by rotating his plate after he'd learned where each food item was. Nothing malicious but just a silly prank. He would swear at them and then laugh and fix his plate again by feel. One day, they had a visiting judge for a trial. He didn't realize the attorney was blind and asked the defense if he had seen a piece of evidence. The defense was like, no, but... And the judge got all no excuses, he has to see it and they but judge give it to him, so they walked it over to him, and he made a huge show of holding it in front of his face, making comments like he could see it, but with it backwards in his hand. One of the officers there for the trial laughed so hard he almost got charged with contempt. The blind lawyer asked to speak to the judge privately and explained the situation after that. Asked one of the people in my life who has a disability. He said what irritates him most is when others talk really slowly, act like I'm dumb, or refer to me as the guy with disability here. It must suck having one quality of you attributed as your whole being, and even more so if that quality is a disability. If you're trying to point someone out, you pick the most obvious characteristic, like the black guy or that girl with short hair. It does suck to have that easily identifiable characteristic as a disability, especially if someone only thinks of you as that disability, but just saying he's the one with the bad leg isn't bad, in my opinion. People don't usually try to do anything for me, but it makes me uncomfortable sometimes when people try to give me a compliment, but it's something like "you're good at your job, even though you've got a little hand." I know that they're trying to say they admire the way I don't let my hand get in the way of doing anything, but I don't like that they make a focus point of it. Like, you could just say "you're good at your job," and not mention my hand at all, you know? It kind of feels like they're saying I'm surprised that you can perform as well as an able-bodied person because I had already assumed you couldn't. Even though I don't rationally think that's their intention. I had a patient who was missing his whole right arm. I could tell he was really confident, so when he asked for a Coke, I prepared it like I normally would for a person with two hands. Handed him an unopened can of Coke with a cup of ice and an unopened straw. Do you prefer this sort of thing? What if he really couldn't open the can by himself? Would me handing him something that he was unable to do alone make him more embarrassed? I feel like it's a balance sometimes, and I don't know where that balance is. I try to treat those who have disabilities like everyone else, but I don't want to hurt their feelings when doing this makes their disability even more obvious. Edit, the general consensus is assume those with disabilities do not need help because they are not afraid to ask for help when they do need it. And if you are unsure what to do, ask first, instead of assuming help is needed. I have one hand, and would much rather someone assume I can do a thing, and then have to ask for help if necessary. I can do a lot of things that surprise people, but when I find something I can't do, I have no issues asking for help. I have a question: when a person with a walking stick walks by, like say on the subway platform, should I get out of their way or let their walking stick tap me? I always let the stick tap me because I thought the point of the cane is to tap obstacles so that the user recognizes them. But, I've seen people put a lot of effort into dodging them too. I'd probably just avoid it if you can. I'm not blind, but it's always nice when people shift out of my way when I'm trying to walk. I imagine it's the same principle. Well, I mean, would you stand in front of a person and block their path, forcing them to go around you, or would you just step to the side when you see them approaching? If you were walking, would you want a pole in front of you have to walk around, or would it be cool if the pole shifted aside for you to go on your way? I have a paraplegic uncle and he was always that way to me. He was injured while he was in service in the Navy, though on shore leave, and used the money he got to go to law school at MSU. Overall pretty good guy, optimistic attitude, in his 50s and still active. He played in the National Wheelchair Basketball League and got to fly all around and shit. Anyways, I would, on occasion, visit with him at his farm, and when we went out and got groceries or something, sometimes I wouldn't think about it and help him with things. On one such occasion, we were getting smokes from a liquor store and I went in first, and the door hit him after I went inside. I apologized profusely, but he told me that it actually meant more to him that I thought of him as just another human being than someone who needed help. I never realized that I had never really thought of him as a paraplegic but just as my uncle. I think it means more to not be set aside as being different, even if it's generally something that is considered polite, but you never know. Different people who have handled it differently will respond differently. I have rheumatoid arthritis and use a cane sometimes. I'm pretty young and healthy looking otherwise, so sometimes people ask me in public about why I use a cane. I usually answer that I have rheumatoid arthritis and the cane helps me walk. I have a lot of pain in my back sometimes, but this is kinda awkward to talk about to a random person. I have had several of these people try to give me some folk remedy or yoga or their chiropractor in a condescending way. It's annoying for more than one reason. I am already proactive about my illness. I keep up on the latest research and follow my doctor's recommendations. It's not like there is some simple solution that I just overlooked. People really don't understand RA and that it's insanely different from other types of arthritis. This might sound weird, but good for you for using a cane and helping yourself. I say this because my mom has RA and refuses to use assistive devices because she's too proud. I don't know, I have a special place in my heart for people with RA, so I just feel for you. I feel like autoimmune diseases in general are just really foreign to people. My daughter has juvenile dermatomyositis, which is crazy rare, but when you say autoimmune, people just seem to have a disconnect. Like, hey, thanks for the advice about the herbs and chiropractic adjustments and natural treatments, but what's keeping her alive right now is chemotherapy, drugs and steroids. If there was a simple, natural solution, we would use that. But there isn't. Sometimes I feel like if it isn't cancer, or a heart attack, people don't understand the seriousness of it, even with explanation. Frustrating to say the least. Hey, thanks for the advice about the herbs and chiropractic adjustments and natural treatments, but what's keeping her alive right now is chemotherapy, drugs and steroids. When I come across these interactions, I appreciate the concern from others, but I privately resent them. I'm dealing with Crohn's disease, my unwanted lifelong partner's skeptical extra bonus, because the symptoms are related to shitting and GI discomfort/pain. Most everyone thinks it's what you eat that's the root cause, not the inflammation that's inside my guts. I know I shouldn't have ill will towards others, but I'm just barely over accepting the disease myself. I was born with a condition which affects the joints and muscles in my legs, so all my life I've been walking with a wheel walker. I can climb stairs if I have something to hold on to, and I can pretty much do anything I have to do on a daily basis without much help. Now, people tend to be really nice and try to help me. And yes, especially when I don't need any help. I know their intentions are good, but sometimes they end up making things even more complicated or make me feel like a completely useless piece of shit. I mentioned stairs before. I only need a rail/wall/person on each side to hold on to, and everything is just perfect. Anything else will make me lose my balance and split my skull open. So people think they're helping and shove me/pull me/push me on the stairs while I'm trying to tell them without screaming that I'm okay. I usually end up yelling and freaking them out because of the adrenaline rush. Make me lose my balance and I drag everyone/everything after me. The worst is when people try to grab my butt and push me. Why the butt FFS? Frown. I've lost count of the times when I felt molested, usually by old women. Men don't dare. My arms and hands are fully functional, but sometimes I may have slow moves because of my severe scoliosis and trying to keep my balance. So I have people constantly grab my purse from my wheel walker and my coat and place them somewhere else. Leave my things alone please, especially if you see me preparing to take my own shit and place it wherever I want. People constantly trying to rearrange my chair as I'm sitting. I usually don't like my chair really close to the table since I'm short, but most of the time, people try to push my chair into my legs or move it left/right. I sometimes grab the chair in an attempt to put it back where it was and the other person is still holding onto it, which turns into a fight of who puts the chair in the right position. Awkward looks, person realizes I simply like my chair in that position. Thanks, I'm good. I could go on, but I already sound like a bitch. Frown. I understand people are trying to be nice, but sometimes I just want to be left alone to do my own shit. As for your case, you can go to him/her and politely ask if he or she needs any help, and if the answer is no, then it's most certainly they're managing it. The thing I hate the most is when people ask me if I need help, and if I say no they keep asking or proceed to help anyway me with things I don't need to be helped with. You're a good person for having this concern and asking this on Reddit. Smile. Edit. Thank you so much for the gold, kind stranger. Smile. Nah dude, you don't sound like a bitch. You sound like a perfectly normal person who wants and deserves respect, and it definitely sucks that you aren't always getting it. Edit. Thank you for the gold, oh man, but seriously though. Like/you/Ernqui said, everyone deserves respect, and one of the great injustices of the world is that some people are easily respected while others have to work much harder for it. I have multiple sclerosis. Sometimes my right leg doesn't work very well and I limp. My left eye has a horrible blind spot that flares and gets worse. And I don't feel things like normal people, like I just burned my fingers because I didn't feel that the pot holder was damp. I can't stand being told my limits. I coach my daughter's softball team. I may be in a wheelchair next year. But this year, I will be active. I don't need to be babied. I don't need my husband to take off from work with every tiny injury. I would like to be treated more like a normal person. MS Bro here. I usually try to be silly about it. I like to tell people MS is like the herpes of neurological disorders. It'll come and go forever, might make you walk a little funny once in a while, but it won't kill you. But yeah man, activity, keep on rockin' in the free world. Use it or choose to lose it, am I right? Edit, guys, I know MS can be fatal. Doc just tells me those days are mostly gone for RRMSRS like myself with meds. I didn't mean to exclude any of the older folks or nasty forms of MS. Mostly I say such a thing to someone who looks like they heard I got the cancer. When I joke about it, everyone acknowledges it, sees I'm cool with it, and moves the f*** on. Exactly. It drives my husband crazy, but I don't want to suddenly be in a wheelchair and think back to not being stuck in one, and realize I didn't take advantage of my time. I get hurt all the time. But I joke because I don't always feel it. Bonus. Edit, gold. For real? Thanks. You sound like a really strong person. Good luck to both yourself and /you/Sir Lurks-a-lot. Stay strong, the both of you. Be as active as you want to. Power to the both of you. MS team, assemble. I hear ya, some days I feel like something out the Ministry of Silly walks and people get frustrated that I can't keep up with them goose-stepping down the corridors. I also have really bad cognitive problems and don't really feel comfortable conversing with people outside my immediate family as half the time it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. On the other hand, when I'm with my wife or family, it's hilarious when you go to say fancy a pizza, and it comes out as pancy a fista. Oh man, I really feel you on the cognitive problems. Usually when I make a mistake, then it snowballs into my brain just shooting endless random suggestions at me. It's like autocorrect. I see the word you just used had an E. Try this. Unchidrkvk. My brother has dystonia, and he hates when he's in the middle of trying to complete an action and people interrupt him and do it for him. He says it's embarrassing and it makes the process of getting his muscles to respond faster even slower.